Oh my god, really? Well, the good news is we've got a new flashlight here. Hey NTC, what's going on? The stream timer isn't broken. Saturdays are just unusual and have been for the last 14 weeks at this point. And will be for next week too. Because we're... So, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays, we have been streaming the Lore Week. Not Lore Week. The Lore Runner Theater. Lore Walker Theater. God damn it, I can't talk at all. Reset mentally. Sorry, I have a really loud bass neighbor, which you could probably hear, which has been driving me nuts for hours, or weeks rather. And they just do this all the time, up to like midnight. It's ridiculous. Anyways, so because I do a live director's commentary for the theater, I can't stream during that. Obviously, I can't do anything during that. I have to just sit there and be on the theater and be in the live thought in order to give director's commentary for it. So our Saturday streams have been starting whenever we're done, because each theater episode has a different duration. Like some are 30 minutes, some are an hour, some are 2 hours. Next week is 3 hours. So that's why we're on at a little bit off tempo today, and have been for the last 14 weeks, and will be next week as well. Or no, not 14 weeks, sorry. 17 weeks, sorry, 17 weeks. But yeah, I was actually about to comment that I didn't recognize your name, and I'm usually pretty good at recognizing people's names on the stream. So hi, welcome to the stream. I do hope you find this at least moderately entertaining, since that is kind of the goal. It's that way. Where am I going? No, that's the way I'm going. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. And then down here. Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. Come here. Come here, Edward. You're not Edward. You're not Edward. You're still not Edward. Go away. There we go. There we go. Okay. Is this it? Yeah, it looks like we need a battery now. I haven't seen a battery lately. I'm doing as well as I can with, the base problem. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it too, right? Like, that's the issue. There is no fixing that. The solution for that is to make enough money to buy a house. Which, I mean, that's technically a solution, right? Like, you ever get those kind of... Well, you probably don't, but you ever get those kind of comments from people who are like, oh, I don't understand why you're having an issue here. Insert person here. All you have to do is this incredibly complicated thing that you already know about. And it's like, yeah, sure. Like, oh, you're stressed about how much work you have to do? Why don't you just work more? Why don't you just make more money? God, it's duh. Well, Lord Niece is amazing. I look forward to Christmas with her this year. So, bit of a spoiler. You didn't hear this, but I decided to buy her an official ladyship in Scotland. So she is going to be a legally ratified lady of 1 square foot of land in Scotland. I mean, it's really to plant a tree. That's actually the purpose of that whole thing. But I got I got the whole 9 yards, so she can, go to school and say, yes, I am a legally. She can tell all her friends, yeah, I am the lady of insert area here. I think she'll get a kick out of it. I hope she'll get a kick out of that. I have no idea if she'll actually like that or not. Guess we'll find out. Oh yeah, that's... Where'd my flashlight go? Did it just freaking vanish? My flashlight just despawned. Oh, that's great. Let's go pick up another one. Did it? I never actually played the Syndicate FPS because it was a Syndicate FPS, but I actually don't know if it's any good or not. I just never played it. Excellent, excellent. Have Captain Howitzer killed immediately. Okay, so let's just drop that in there.
Shit.
Nope. Yeah, it just it eats the light. So I'm not supposed to be able to bring a light down here. That's cute. All right, cool. I sort of figured, but I thought I'd check. Oh, Glee. The next objective is to find a light source, apparently. No reason Zach Taft. Have Zach Taft killed immediately as well. Alright. Anything up? Nope. Okay. Alright. Well, she even had a vocal reaction to it vanishing, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's scripted and not a bug. I have to question it because we've run into a couple of bugs already, you know. Okay, let's try left first. Let's try right instead. Listen, all I'm saying is that she has access to everything ever, Zach Taft. And if anyone gets in her way, their life is immediately forfeit. Going? Okay, I got it. I figured it out. So let's line this up. So I need it to be about here. Just before that thing. There. Should do it. There we go. Alright. Oh yeah, no, I was really happy with how Chapter 4 turned out. Much pleased, much pleased. Wait until you see Chapter 5. Quite literally the largest production I've ever worked on for the theater. As far as an individual section, an individual chapter. Even Chapter 13 pales compared to Chapter 5. My god. Okay. There's a light. Light is good. You know, you have hands, Jesse. Although, in fairness, if I had telekinesis, I have to admit I'd probably use that for most things, too.
Damn it.
And, yep, it just... Oh. The flashlight. Let's go over here into the light for no reason. Yeah, mission update. Survive. Got it. Yep.
It's too dark in here to fight this thing.
Just gonna... Oh yeah, that's him. That's Hartman. Hi, Hartman. How you doing? What? All it was some negotiations broke down, Pico, which is extremely normal, actually. I'm not even trying to play about it on a lore week. It's such non-news. Okay. Let's get some light. A little more light than that, preferably. There we go. Good morning, Cashel. Okay, are we... We're okay. We're clear. The lights are back on. But looks like flashlights aren't going to do it against Hartman, which makes sense. Yeah, the darkness made louder, I believe, is how Wake put it, so whatever. My counter-argument for replacing the clones? They're morons. Not the clones. The people wanting to replace the clones are morons. Have them executed immediately. Going to admit I wasn't expecting a donation. Let me get to a spot where I won't die. Stand still. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Oh, is there a flashlight in here? I need a flashlight. Anybody? I kind of broke my last... Well, Hartman broke my last one. Which kind of sucks, actually. Oh, they will not, Pika. Let's be very clear about that. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a non-zero chance that that this is just another phase of negotiating, and they will come up with a new deal which better benefits Disney because money, money, money. But I wouldn't count on it, because to me it seems more like Disney is trying to shuffle more things to Disney Plus and control more of its outlets via that. This is one of the biggest reasons why the negotiations broke down. That, and of course, raw, naked greed. That's really disorienting. Am I still here? Yep, no, I'm still here. God. Remind me to complain about how stupid everything is. I believe we call those first world problems. Like having to listen to loud amount of bass while you're trying to talk. So is it F male word or FM ale word? I'm actually not sure how to say that. But either way, thank you so much for your support. You've probably heard me say this before, but I always appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure Dyson Sphere is on my list. Hang on. I keep a list on my phone when games catch my attention of things I'd like to stream someday. Yeah, there it is right there. Thought so. I thought that looked familiar. So let me go ahead and add that to the list. The actually added list. Here we go. If I can find it. I got a lot of notes right now. Give me a break. Here we go. Ah, gotcha. I don't have a lot of field marshals on my stream, but awesome. Thank you very, very much, sir. Again, much appreciated. And I will put that towards the Dyson Sphere program. I thought that was still an alpha. Now, granted, I haven't looked in a bit, so I'm probably out of date on that one. I'm glad you like the Star Trek stuff. You're going to have a little over a year, probably about a year and 4 months of Star Trek stuff still coming, so I hope you like that too. Because we got the rest of Enterprise to get through, the rest of TOS to get through, and we have to get through TAS as well. So I need a flashlight. I'm just gonna go back and get one. I've never used Hulu except to briefly watch some South Park on it, so I have no idea what Hulu's like. See, that's what I figured. The only reason I ask is because usually if there's a game I'm interested in that's in early access, mentally speaking, I don't think of it as being out yet, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of waiting for it to be out, and then I'll go ahead and pick it up. And did they... I'm sealed in. Hang on. No, never mind. I can break through to the other side. We're cool. Ignore me. It just sealed behind me. That's actually really creepy. Whatever. Hopefully there's another flashlight that's respawned, because I've broken 2 getting down here. Oh, thank God. Yeah, that's another thing I tend to not consider as being out. Are you kidding me? But I... Well, that didn't work. Also true, Cubic Skull. But my point remains firm. Like, you are, of course, absolutely right. But when it comes to professionally for the sake of the show, we don't stream games in early access. We stream games when they're out. And generally speaking, when they're out is usually a lot later than 1.0 comes out. There are exceptions. There are a few games we'll play when they launch. Usually the big ones, you know, Cyberpunk or Elden Ring, and I think it's actually it right now. Most of the games aren't particularly big names yet. Alright, so we need to find a flashlight in here.
Okay, we're gonna try this one more time and then we're done playing with you. Understand?
Jelly,
Where are you from?
jumbo grain, up and loose in heavy tree sandwich.
Jesus Christ, does anyone have any idea what this thing is saying?
Hotly, dirt arrange you.
Why are you here? What the hell do you want? Why'd you stow away on that ship?
School bearing, boy. Eyes many cauterizing loops through and about. Windy Mitchell.
Did he just say Mitchell? Was there a Mitchell at NASA?
Tubes.
You know what? Never mind. I can't do this anymore. Just send this thing to the guys in research. Let them cut it up or whatever they do. You hear that? They're gonna cut you up, you pain in the ass.
Spider time.
Well then. I guess the Babel virus from DS9 got on that one. Boop. But no, as is probably obvious based on the Surviving Mars run, I absolutely love those kind of survival building management sims. Right up there with right up there with platformers as my favorite genre of game. The kind of stuff that's just gels with me. They really like the combat, don't they? Okay, thank you, Nadaz. Very much. Always endeavor. And I'll jot that one down for City Skylines. Here. Yeah, we tried the machine gun, or I guess actually SMG for a bit. Problem is it runs out of ammo so quickly that Mr. Red donates, and that's just unacceptable. I mean, Mr. Red had to buy this donut. Now he's out of cash. Hey, Valerian. I know it. You're probably sitting there thinking, why isn't he responding to me in FF14? It's so strange. It's almost like he's really busy with something, but I don't know what it could possibly be. Ah, it's probably not a big deal. He's probably just a joik. That stupid joik. I'll hate him. Gonna eat a puppy and name it Law. Just for him. I know this isn't your accent, but this is now canonically your accent, so... Sort of a retro continuity thing. So SG-1 is actually already on the list, but as you yourself point out, that is such a long show. That's probably going to take a while to actually happen. I'm also not familiar with SG-1. I've never seen it all. So it'll be more of an outsider's perspective than an in-depth analysis kind of a thing. I still want to do it, don't mistake me. I've been wanting to go through the SG-1 series for years. It's just, I've never had the time. But thank you, Mr. Red. Always and ever. I will put that towards buying a new keyboard, which I've actually already done prior to starting the stream. So I said I'd rant about keyboards and stupid first world problems. So anybody who's been around for a few years knows what this is like, where it's usually a software thing, but it's also a hardware thing, where they just have this tendency to make things that are worse. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, worse is a variable thing. It depends on what you care about and what you want. But, like, my mouse and my keyboard are both things that I'm quite happy with. They accomplish the things that I care about. If anything goes wrong with my mouse, I'm screwed. So, something went wrong with my regular mouse, and I'm currently using my backup mouse, because I usually have at least one backup. So I went ahead and looked up, trying to find another copy of this thing for my new backup mouse, because I always like to have at least one backup on hand, because of course I do. I'm going to cut short, but after multiple days of research, I have discovered that there is no such thing as a mouse that actually accomplishes everything that I want it to anymore. Like, they don't make it. Even this very same company that makes these, which is SteelSeries, the new mice they make are garbage. They have other features that I don't care about and have no use for, and they're super precise, which I have no use for. Same thing with the keyboard. I'm actually playing on my backup keyboard, which sucks. I hate it. The key layout is awful, and they have extra keys where they shouldn't, so every time I go to hit the Windows key, I keep hitting this other menu key, for example, and they've got a frickin' emote button over here where the control button should be. It's a terrible keyboard. So I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and buy another copy of my keyboard. Well, they don't make that anymore. So I sank the money to buy a used copy and hope that that's actually going to be in decent condition, because it isn't cheap. They do sell them new, of course. They're only about $360, because they don't make them anymore. And I've encountered this with a few things, but it's just ridiculous how, like, okay, to explain what I mean a little, let's go into specifics. So for my mouse, what I like is more buttons than 2, but I don't want a freaking keypad on my thumb. I want multiple buttons. So for example, the mouse I use, it has the 2 face buttons, right? Left click and right click. In the middle there, right next to the wheel mouse, it has another button and another button. That's my 9 and my 0. It's got a button underneath this finger, as I'm resting it on the mouse. That's my 8 key. And then it's got 3 buttons over here on the thumb. 3 nice, big, large, tactilely distinct buttons, which is important because it's not just like mousing over, you know, a keypad like the frickin' Razors made popular. Instead, it's this button, this button, this button, and all of that is perfect. Now, I don't need that many. It would be nice, but I do at the very least need a mouse that's decent that has some buttons, preferably more than one. And yet, I've tried every other. I've actually bought a few mice to just try them out. I'm like, oh, let's make this thing work, and they all, none of them accomplish any of these objectives. Nothing has the 9 and the 0 buttons, the ones right next to the mouse. Nobody does that, so that's just right out, and that sucks and screws with my rotation in every MMO I play. But let's move on from that. The 8 thing is something I could live with. That's a whatever. That's an optional feature. But nobody does the thumb right. There's either one button there, you know, and that's it. 90 buttons, sorry, exaggeration, like 16 buttons there, which is terrible if you've ever actually used a 16-button mouse. I know some people prefer that, and that's fine. I hate it. In fact, one of the mice I got was like that, and what I did was I just programmed every single one of those buttons on the thumb to the exact same input. And I thought, at least I could live with that, right? Wrong, because for some reason the software wasn't saving that upon reboot. So I had to do that every single time I loaded my computer, which is incredibly unacceptable. So, and you see the problem here, right? It's the same thing with the keyboard, and it's the same thing with a lot of things. And it's just like, why? I just want this again. I will pay good money for this again. I put very real thought into going ahead and buying a copy off of, I forget what it's called. It's the Chinese eBay. I forget what it's called. Because they're the only ones who sell these things for something less than $500. I just... Instead you get this nonsense. Sorry. AliExpress, that's it. Or AliExpress, however you pronounce that. I have actually bought a few things off of them before, because sometimes they're the only option. Oh yeah, exactly, Cubic Skull. See, that's kind of the thing. It's not like I don't agree with the idea that there's plenty of different types of mice, because as you say, and as anyone can tell you, right, it's a preference, right? Everyone has their own preferences, everyone has their own things that they like and they want, they prefer. But it's weird how nobody is making the mice I prefer. Now, hang on. It gets weirder. This mouse, so the exact mouse I'm using, I'll go and hold it up. This is the WoW Cataclysm mouse. Now, I didn't buy this because it's WoW or because it's Cataclysm. I didn't give a damn. I bought it because of the aforementioned reasons. You know, the thumb buttons, the 2 buttons up here, and the 8 button on my finger. Right? That's exactly why I bought this mouse. It is basically perfect for me. But SteelSeries then came out with another thing kind of like this, but not quite like it, which is not quite as good, doesn't have all the same buttons, but still accomplishes all the same objectives. Perfectly acceptable mouse. They don't sell that anymore either. And I bring that up because both of those mice had the same objective in terms of design, and they've just abandoned that. Like, if you look at the current model of all the SteelSeries mice they make, I'm not even sure what market they're going for exactly, you know? But again, okay, maybe SteelSeries doesn't want to make that. That's fine. Maybe someone else could? Nope. Again, nobody does. Anyway, sorry, rant off. It's frustrating when it's like, I just want this. Why can't you just make this? Okay, I'm calm, I'm cool. But if I suck today, I'm just going to blame it on the keyboard, because this is a terribly laid out keyboard. Like, my F keys are right next to my number keys. And when I say right next to, I mean, I cannot touch 5 without also my finger touching F5, for example. So, that's a thing. Is that Hartman? Oh my gosh, that's Hartman. Hey, Hartman. You know, your ribs should not be that big.
Like whatever force had a hold on Hartman isn't mixing well with his corruption. Lake did call him the third thing.
And yeah, it's one of the reasons why I cannot stand gaming on laptop. I've done it. But, ugh. Well, yeah, I mean, this Cataclysm mouse has lasted me for friggin' ever. And obviously we have tons and tons and tons of examples of this in software, too. How many times has the interface of YouTube or Twitch gotten worse with each update? Just to name an immediately relevant example. I'm still irritated that whenever I pull up my Twitch page to check something or to pull up the chat, it immediately loads like this splash page that I don't give a damn about and never did and never will. But it loads that first, and I have to manually select the chat tab to get it to reload into the proper configuration. Anyway, sorry. Rant off. It's just, ugh. I think you're right, Dakota. I mean, I've said for years, because I've seen this in corporate America at least, I've said for years that a lot of people will change things because they have to and for no reason. Let me walk that back. Because they need to prove that they need to keep getting their paychecks, right? Like they need to keep justifying their jobs. And so they'll change things because they want to make sure that they stay employed. And it's like, that's... Like, I feel for you, but could you not? And yeah, as Takoida pointed out, you mentioned pens earlier, which is a perfect example. The pens I use, I actually bought. This has become normal policy for me. Anytime I get something that actually works for me, I buy a whole lot of it. The pens I use, you can't get these anymore. They don't make these anymore. They make new, different, terrible pens. And of course, my earbuds, which I use, they actually don't make these anymore either. The last time they, so I got really lucky and I bought, I want to say about 30 copies of these things, which was rather expensive. But I did it so I'd be covered for the next decade or so when it comes to headphones. Because I wear these all the time, you know, like 12 hours a frickin' day, right? So I kind of wanted to make sure that I had copies since they stopped making them. I'm sorry, I'm updating the theater in the background. I forgot to do this before I hit go. This will not take me long. I just need to update the website. Did you know? Come on. There we go. Okay, done. Sorry. Sorry for the delay. I do have a website. It's strange.
Director Faden here. Dispatch a ranger to this location.
How? You know what? I'm done questioning it. I'm done questioning it. The director steps closer to the horrible entity. He reaches out with a steady hand. You are not mine now, creature. I will return you to my facility and control your power. Scientist, sir, we don't know. The entity instead rushes forward and engulfs the director. He screams in pain as the scientist looks on and does nothing like the coward that he is. Entity subtitled, I am not the one being examined. I am not the one locked inside a prison. Gradually, the director emerges from the entity. His once sparkling eyes are now empty and dull. The scientist rushes to him. Sir, we have to escape. We cannot. They are in control now. I got what I wanted. Is this Northmore? True enough, Darth Terran. Still kind of questionable, but, you know, whatever. Did Alan Wake write Northmore's fate? Did Alan Wake write this entire game? Is that just what's going on here? Because I always was under the presumption that the Dark Presence's reach was more localized. Good place for a joystick. Ironically, no, for the same reason I just mentioned. It was an old flight stick I used, which was great. It was exactly what I needed it to be. No bells and whistles. Well, no unnecessary bells and whistles. Reasonable price. And, good responsiveness. They don't make it anymore. Uh-oh. About this death. Whee! So unfortunately, no, I can't recommend a flight stick anymore. There probably are some good ones. I looked when we were doing the TIE Fighter run, and I ran into some issues, which I've kind of already hinted at. And gave up and played TIE Fighter on a PS3 controller. Oh, yeah. Something I've been accused of occasionally. When I complain about the whole changing things to make things worse thing. Is that I'm just cantankerous and I prefer not changing or not adapting. Anybody who tries to say that is a moron who doesn't know me. Because I've tried all the new stuff. Because I'm constantly trying to improve and change things. Kind of a philosophy I adhere to. But the thing is, if something isn't good or something doesn't work, I dump it, because it isn't good or doesn't work. Right? So I've tried all kinds of new mice, and I've tried all kinds of new keyboards, and they suck. And pens. And headphones. I've actually spent a lot of money buying expensive headphones. That gave me ear pain within, I'd say, about like 10 minutes. Because, you know, everyone's ears are different shape and yada yada. Well, we got a flashlight. What are we doing here? I guess we're going this way. Yeah, that's another one, Nerazaz, you're right. Sometimes it works, but it's an irritation to get it working. Or worse, like you say, it's an irritation to get it working every single time. Like I mentioned with the multi-button mouse. Having to adjust that every single time I log in is just not acceptable. Is that more mildew? Yep, well, I wasn't going to, but since we're here. Yomiaki. I hope I'm pronouncing even close to correctly. I'm not, I know it. It's okay, I can't do words. Braegwyn can do words. Like the things she can do with her tongue. Oh. She can even say anti-disestablishmentarianism without stuttering. I don't know how she manages that. Yeah, exactly, Nerazaz. I was talking to Pax about Control. And this is something that's relevant for the review, so let's bring it back on task to the game we're actually playing right now. How many of you have ever played a game and you're like da 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 da, and then something happens? Maybe you get out of a certain area, or maybe you've left a certain boss fight, or maybe you've changed sections, or maybe you just decide to start cheating or turn the difficulty down, and like it's a weight that's lifted immediately. Like you barely even noticed how irritable and frustrated and not having fun you were until you do that. How many of you have run into that? And I asked my friend Pax about that, and he said, no, I don't run into that because if I start to get irritable the game, I put it down. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I usually don't get that opportunity because it's my job. Not that I'm complaining, I'm just saying it makes sense. That's interesting. Anyways, the big problem for me is it's usually such a gradual thing that I usually don't even... No, you come over here. That I usually don't even notice it happening. And there goes my flashlight again. It really doesn't want me to bring my flashlights forward, does it? Anyways, Control was like that for me. The moment I decided to stop doing the side quests, the moment I decided to just cheat, I started enjoying myself more. That's not a good thing. And I'm not trying to bash the game. Obviously, I do enjoy the game more than not. Hello, Hartman. But yeah, the moment I realized that, it was just like, oh. The game does have reasonably well-designed internal cheats. I'll show you, Neurozos. Check it out. They're built in right here. So you can change how much damage you take in a percentage, how much energy, how fast your energy recovers, how fast your ammo recovers, whether or not you can die, whether you can kill, and some aim snapping, which I don't like at all, but, you know, it's more for, like, if you're playing on a controller or whatever. And these are some good options, and they're gradient, and you could toggle one or all rather than just turning the difficulty on. That's cool. What I have turned on right now is one-hit kill because combat takes too long. Health sponge problem. And I don't take damage because everything hits like a truck. I mean, I could even turn this down. I could turn this down to like here and turn that off. And honestly, this would still probably be fine right here. Yeah, let's go and test that theory, shall we? I don't know what that word means. Oh, that's wondrous. Okay, let's get away from the extremely dark area and find it. A paranatural entity arrived on Earth by infiltrating Apollo 14 at an unknown point in their mission to the Framaro Highlands of the Moon. 32 hours after the return of Apollo 14 command module to Earth, the Bureau was contacted by Mr. a White House senior official, and instructed to send a small team to the Johnson Space Center in Houston. The base, the team examined the entity and carried our interviews to the NASA staff. They learned that 4 astronauts had returned to Earth instead of the expected 3. Each human crew member was insistent that the mission left with 4 members, although they couldn't name the 4th when asked. The entity seemingly affected their memory to make its presence feel unremarkable. The entity was transported to the oldest house for further investigation. Note: an altercation between the NASA security and investigation team occurred upon arrival. Mr. called to clarify the matter, though tensions remained high. Bureau jurisdiction and clearance should be defined more clearly with other federal agencies. Dude. Yeah, the not your problem field. Nothing to see here. So there's my spotlight. Let's just add it over here. Okay. I mean, essentially, if enemies died quicker, however you process that, Nero says, it wouldn't be as much of a problem. It would, however, still be a problem. The simple fact is this game has the Dragon Age 2 syndrome, and the further I get into it, the more tired of it I become. Okay, yep. We're not gonna mess with that. Yeah, I know Chemic, I actually mentioned a few other people, because I can't do that anymore. Chemic and a few other people I've talked to all said that at a certain point, they just got tired of the combat because there was just so damn much of it. What? Oh, Jesus. And they just turned it on to, you know, the game. Let me put this another way. I don't know if you remember the Dragon Age lore run. The Dragon Age lore run was... Okay. The first time... Hey, there we go. I got him for a second. It was the first time I had turned down the difficulty in Dragon Age 2 to whatever the easiest is. And it was just such a breath of fresh air compared to what I remembered in that stupid game. And again, not a good sign. Alright, so... hang on. So this transfers it to the other side. Okay. We do have a power thing. I haven't seen a receptacle yet. Let's not get ahead of our light. Okay. Yeah, it's automatically coming over here. did last time. There we are, over there, looks like. Can I do these now? Or are they covered? Let's find out. Okay. The Apollo 14 entity, commonly known as FRA, underwent a series of physical examinations upon its admittance to the oldest house. The entity can speak, although its poor grasp of the English language makes any meaningful communication impossible. Interview material can be found at Its physical form consists solely of the extravehicular mobility unit, spacesuit, used by NASA astronauts, the same model worn by other crew. This could be an authentic EMU taken from one of the NASA astronauts, although the suit does not bear anywhere his name, or one materialized through conversion, or possibly corporealization. The suit itself is slightly damaged, which is likely due to the fact that the command module did not have a fourth seat for the entity to strap into during re-entry. The EMU is entirely hollow, and the pieces can be removed, although this seems to agitate the entity. X-rays and spectrograph imaging have shown shaped outlines existing within the suit. For safety reasons, the entity will be contained in a secure cell until more information can be gathered. Yeah, I'm almost sad we didn't play Alan Wake right before this, but I mean, that obviously wasn't going to happen. This run was already put off way too long. Well, let's send it to the other side, see if we can find another power back. Oh, there's one right there. Looks like it's covered, though. Yeah, so this... Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Okay, so what's that doing? Nothing? Oh, Jesus. And now I'm just stuck like this for the rest of the boss fight. Where's the light way over there right now? Let's see what this does. Oh yeah, no, the raspberry jam is particularly bad in this game. It's not good. And unless I can find some kind of source of healing, we're just kind of stuck with this for the rest of the boss fight, so... Well, there's the floodlights. Yeah, I think if we ever actually review Modern Warfare 3, that'll be a game that gets a full 3 negatives.
One less place for him to hide.
For Raspberry Jam, because that's just... Yikes. Honestly, several of the Modern Warfares would get multiple negatives to the Raspberry Jam. It's really bad in those ones. Especially in a game where it's all about being able to notice small details and react to them quickly. I mean, it's no Revedicate, because Revedicate's awesome, but pretty bad. Make a hole. Just seeing what we missed in the middle of that. There's a holding cell. Anything on the lander? Okay. Can Raspberry Jam be done right? That's an interesting question. But by default, so my knee-jerk answer is no. So some of the categories for positives and negatives we have are universally positive or...
Yes, hello? Yes, me? Who are you? C to C.
universally negative. And raspberry jam, I can't imagine a situation in which it's a positive. And yes, probably FM Aylward. Oh my god, I could talk. I mean, let me put it this way. Is there a good way to notify the player that they're low on health? Yes, absolutely. We've actually seen several games that do a good job of notifying you they're low on health. We actually just played one with A Hat in Time. But is there such a thing as raspberry jam, specifically where it's good? No, I'm just stumbling in my words today. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. You know how it is.
Hello?
Hello. Great about us today. Long roads and no hardly. You are Bygone?
Sure. Why are you locked up in here?
Casual turning. Back and front. And Gerbil took the top head. Not being pressed for that. Lady going and loosing back for eye?
Sorry, I think I'm misunderstanding you. What do you want?
The head. The head for tails. For reading news, jars, words, and tumble. The reading head.
Okay, take it easy. I'll take a look.
As it happens, I remember where that head is.
Maybe it wants something to read. Or a jar. Let's just see what we can find.
So let's go to well, actually, no. Let's do the shortcut. See what kind of loop around we have. Yet the reading head. Hello. Does she not understand? I want my head back. Oh God, there it says. Yeah, as it happens, we did read the supplementary documents, so we know exactly what he needs. Chunks of darkness that are just floating in a tunnel. Lovely. Alright, we'll just leave us. Alright, here. Alright. Wait, what's this? Oh, we can up. Yeah, I don't care. Let's upgrade the shield even more. Because why not? Alright, where was that? It was way back. Way back. There, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe. Yes, looks right. So there it is. That's the wrong button.
A helmet. For a head. Is that what the prisoner meant? I guess there's only one way to find out.
I'm imagining someone who goes through that and doesn't remember where that helmet is, and they're just like, Because near as I can tell, there is absolutely no indication that that helmet's there other than just seeing it. Also, I could totally picture that, Dakota.
Ahead! River Chicken Station! Far tastier. Press any button?
Yeah, imagine if there was no fast travel, too. That'd make it even worse.
So the helmet is what you're after, huh?
Tubes! Snug and grape. Pure grapes. Hail a lady.
You're welcome, I guess. Did Kirkland lock you up in here?
Chief Gerbil? Yes. Teddy's long around. But holdout's unhappiest. Can gather for goldfishes. No wrinkle.
Okay. Well,
Sounds like you're doing fine in there now. Just make sure you don't go anywhere.
Jelly.
At least we helped this guy. I think. Best we leave it locked up, though. We have no idea what it is, and we don't need any more problems out here.
I mean, I want to give special praise to that actor. It is harder than it sounds to essentially say one thing with the tone of a completely separate sentence, which is what he's doing. I almost guarantee you, because if I was directing it, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd have the sentence that he needs to read, and right under it, I would have the actual sentence that he's saying, right? So that way he could be like, oh, and understand the intonation he needs to use for the lines. And that takes practice, because your mind will automatically, like, correct words and just be like, and try to be like, oh no, what I actually mean is this. So I probably took a few takes, is what I'm trying to say. I guess let's go here. Here? Let's go here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Here's the literal subtext. I am Groot. Except worse. Much worse. And yeah, the DS9 episode had that too. And you'll notice, if you've seen that episode recently...
It's just nice to have someone to talk to.
You'll notice that some of the actors have a harder time with that than others, and some of them just sound like nonsense, and others manage to smoothly say it as if it's normal speech.
You know? Ever since I got put in charge of the Panopticon,
Langston.
people treat me
Langston.
different, like I'm crazy for wanting to work with altered items.
Langston.
People just don't understand the altered items like I do, you know? I don't want to brag, but it does take a very empathetic mind to connect with the items.
Doesn't
Still,
want to
I don't know why
brag.
people are making it so personal.
Right.
I mean,
We've already heard that one. That's why we're walking away. It's down there. Oh, right. Duh. Hey, Ross. Time to kill Ross once and for all. With a strategically designed tactical nuke. Lufia 2 has been cancelled.
as I was saying, still, I don't know why people are making it so personal. I mean, the teams in research handle paranatural materials every day, and no one thinks they're weird. Well, maybe that's not true. Darling is famous for being a bit out there, but when he's weird, it's charming. Altered items really aren't that frightening once you get to know them. If you figure out what they like or don't like, you know, what sets them off, then there's nothing to worry about. I guess at the end of the day, we're still just wild animals scared of our own shadows. We're supposed to...
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I've decided to cancel the Tangled streaminations. And just everything you like. It's all gone.
And we're all trying to be number one.
Rude. I say as I... For God's sakes. Go away. Don't care. There may eventually be Nero's S. There obviously isn't yet. No, the next one after the MLP streaminations will be Mandalorian. Specifically Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, I believe. As for whenever MLP finishes. Oh my gosh! Ah. God! You know, it just occurred to me. There are a lot of rock shoe problems in this game. Right? Like, the visuals, the sound design, the atmosphere, the world building, the voice acting, the general acting, the plot design, for the most part, has been pretty good. Tension. Even some of the bosses are pretty legit. Well, some of them. I shouldn't overpraise. The bosses are okay. And then there's just a rock. Every now and again. Okay. Yeah, every now and again the plot's like, let's do this. And I wonder how much of that is Alan Wake and how much of that is, you know... These things work on belief, right? So let's say it works this way. Okay. That's cool. I'm cool. Everything's cool. Get rid of that. Is that it? That is apparently it, okay. Let's walk out into the darkness. I foresee no problems with this. I know I've said this before, but God, they're really embracing the darkness aesthetic with this DLC, aren't they? No, it's not a problem. At least it hasn't been so far. I keep paying attention, expecting it to be a problem, because Lord knows they screwed up their red aesthetic several times. So far, the darkness aesthetic they've been fine with. I guess they have more experience with it. So. As a reminder, we turned off invincibility. All I did was give me, make the enemies hit less. And I'm just making my point from earlier. You don't need full cheats for the game to be okay. You just need the combat to be less arduous. Which is why that's awesome. Okay, where we at? Is there anything up here? No. Yeah, I was actually... I mean, I guess any area where a flashlight wouldn't be allowed, they would break anyways, but it really does feel weird that we can't do the amazing task of getting some duct tape and a flashlight and just kind of being good, right? Hey, Dream Whisperer. How's it going? Came in here, right? Yeah, I did. I don't think there's anything up here. No. There's some loot. I don't really care about loot. What's funny is their decision to not make health regenerate would be the kind of thing several people would praise, mostly because, regenerating health is usually used badly, either as a crutch or as a mandatory aspect of gameplay. Catch there, some people don't seem to understand, is if you don't have regenerating health, you need to have an entire system or systems in place in order to make it so that your health isn't a problem, like, say, having red outline for an entire boss fight because there's no way to restore your health, just to name a random example. Come on. There we go. Brain missing. Okay. To the good for nothings at the security check. I know you took a part of my brain when you put me through that metal detector. I'm not stupid. I know what they're really for. What I don't know is whether taking a part of my brain causes me to lose my memories or to lose sleep. I've been told if you lose sleep, you lose everything else too. That's where you trick us regular folk. Now, I don't know which it is, and I can't remember what you did to me, but I can tell you this much. I don't find this funny at all. I want my memories back, and you can be sure the next time I visit Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport, I will come and find you and make you fix what you broke. Sincerely, I don't think I'll be signing this with my real name. Like I said, I'm not stupid. You can just mind your own business. I do, Zactaft. And I've managed to avoid spoilers for now. So no spoilers, please. Oh god, that would be awful, Darth Tyrant. Stay here for a second. What is with the fungus? Oh my god, this freaking mold. I'm so sick to death of this mold. Is it here? Yep. Alright. You know what, just for you, Ahti. I don't care about the quest. I just want this mold out of my building. Yeah, you heard me. My building. The board can go suck it. The robust director shoves the nerd-like scientist aside and heads for the control panel. He slams the on button with determined fist. All the more reason. The entire screen is filled with dangerous red. Then it fades away and we see the two men are in another dimension. The air ripples around them as if they were a 1983 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am sitting in Texas sun after a 5-day road trip. It's a terrible analogy, or simile. Interior, unknown dimension, night. What have you done? You've doomed us. Control yourself, Doctor. Where's this beast of yours? Right there, sir. A horrible, shapeless, shifting entity fills the horizon. It can't be described. That's how horrible it is. This this is a terrible writer. What a thing of beauty you've been keeping from me. It's too terrible to imagine. Trust me. Trust me, it's...
See, no mold spore circulation. But it might get a bit stuffy in here.
I mean, Lord knows my writing is terrible near his ass. But that's how I can say it's terrible. Because What?
Christ. Did the Hartman thing do all this?
Okay. So, cable puzzle, right? So we got this one. And yeah, we only have two. And then we've got this one apparently. Some of the mold is coming through the wall, which is... I mean, I guess that's kind of a mold thing to do, but that's not a good thing, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so now we've got... Okay. And yeah, there's the big one, probably. Oh, no. This is probably the big one. Yep, that's the 4 one. This is the 3 one. Alright, so... I literally can't see it there. Well, it's one of those two. I think it's that one. Hang on. Nope. What's the other one? Still no. Okay. So hang on. Retrace, retrace. I got that one. Yep, and I got that one. So the only one I'm missing is the one that's going through the darkness. Well, it's orange. There's no branch outs until here. So it has to be that one. There we go. Now the 4 one. I can carry this with me for a bit of light, but you know, whatever. I'm an idiot. Sure, yep. Okay. All of this was for loot. Wait, seriously? Is that it? Did I do this whole puzzle for loot? No? I need this thing open. So apparently, yes, I did do that whole puzzle for loot. Yeah, honestly, it sort of didn't occur to me to do that, Dakota, because I automatically assumed that there would be, redundant colors. But by the time I got to the 3rd one, it became pretty clear that they were just there for the colors. In other words, there was only as many colors as we needed, so whatever.
Reminder, the law of 3 also applies to all faucets within the oldest house. Be mindful and don't cause any aquatic misconduct. Thank you for your attention.
Do I want to know what aquatic misconduct is? No, I don't think I do. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's gonna happen exactly if I turn the faucet on 3 times? Ah, the train one.
Lots of dark corners to hide in.
1 or 2.
Okay, let's get the lights on and clear him out.
Okay. Listen, concrete warehouses is the spice of life. One might say it is life itself. I have seen the great glory that is the concrete warehouses. Have you, Cubic Skull? Would you like me to show you? I can enlighten you to everything! Behold Costco in all its beauteous glory. Whoops. Back up. Okay, I got it to this end. I just noticed its left leg is different than its right leg.
Where's it running off to now?
I'm not sure I like that. Okay, what?
All aboard?
Well, you asked for it, Dakota. So here we are. I can't fly.
Good evening, all you fine-looking folks. Here's some smooth tunes to ease your minds and please your ears as we wait for that delicious dinner to roll right on in.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard the Eagle Limited bound for Chicago. Please have your tickets ready and enjoy the ride.
Next stops, Alton, Carlinville, and Springfield. That's Alton, Carlinville, and Springfield. Tickets, please. Tickets.
Oh my God, fire! Fire!
Everyone, stay in your seats. In your seats. Nothing to sir. Sit down. Everyone, hold on.
Good evening, all you fine-looking folks. Here's some smooth tunes to ease your minds and please your ears as we wait for that delicious
Good
dinner
afternoon,
to
ladies
roll
and gentlemen,
right on
and
in.
welcome aboard the Eagle Limited bound for Chicago.
Alton,
Please have your
Carlinville,
tickets ready
Springfield.
and enjoy the ride.
Stay in your seats. In your seats. Tickets, please. Tickets. Everyone, hold on.
Rather than, piecemeal this, let's just look up the order, shall we? Smooth jazz. Yeah, that sounds like smooth jazz to me. I don't see any issues here. Briefcases first.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard the Eagle Limited bound for Chicago. Please
Then violin,
ready and
then meal, and just making sure. Yep, then hammer. Whoa, hit the wrong button there.
Springfield.
Then hammer, then wreckage. Yeah, or I can look it up, Kevin, and take less time, which I did.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have a ticket?
Well, no.
You had a pretty dark ride, huh? But I hope you're done replaying it now.
Well, time to go kill the third thing. The engineer was like, wait a minute, is that Jazz? Immediately derails the train. Immediately gets a sub from Hesplo. Wasn't expected. Immediately had a picture of us, which takes a moment to load. Okay, there's the thing. While I hover here, out of reach of the thing that wishes to kill me. Thank you, Hesplo, very much. Always appreciate those subs. Much obliged. If you know where you want to put that, please let me know. Yeah, I'm wondering if they rebuilt it, or this is one of those magic things. Mario and Luigi block. You got it. Thank you again. So for those of you not aware, in Faerun specifically, I think we talked about this during the Forgotten Realms lore run, aka the Neverwinter Nights lore run, magic items have a preternatural disposition to being clean and well-kept and otherwise looking like they're in top, like they just came out of the shop kind of condition. It's part of the magic that goes into them. It sustains their form. That being said, we've seen plenty of instances where that isn't true in this one, but I think we could presume something similar in this case. One moment, please. Oh my god, why? Why would you do this to me? Okay, hang on. Apparently someone insists that I get a heart attack today. Did you know there's an Iron Man mouse? It's just a regular mouse, but it's got like the eyes right under the things. Why is that a thing? I'm transfixed by this. Anyways. Thank you, Kira White Noise. I do always appreciate that support. Thank you very, very much. Why is dive a thing? You don't like dive, Dream Whisperer? Dive. Dream Whisperer doesn't like you. I don't know why. Don't look at me. Don't give me that look. Do you at least like blue? Is blue okay with you, Dream Whisperer? Here, blue. Here, blue. Why don't you like us, Dream Whisperer? Why? It's okay. It's okay. Don't take it too personally. Maybe Dream Whisperer just doesn't like sharks. It's alright. It's okay. Some people are just wrong. And on the floor. And I can't reach her now. Wait, hey, I'm gonna go get your fin. Yeah. Gotcha. You're safe. Why don't you like us, Dream Whisperer? Why? Why? We need to name that one still. I'm going to let my niece name her, though. Let's see what Kira White Noise actually donated for. That's not the F5 button. Wow. I hate this keyboard. Ah, You got it. You're right. It is up for technically an audit run. I was actually thinking about making what? Oh my god, I knew it! Angry Joe is taking away my people again. I was thinking about making it so that audit runs take less priority, cost less. And then I realized that that's just begging to get my queue bigger. And it's already so big that it's stressing me out on a daily basis, so we'll think about that. An alert from Washington Monitoring Station alerted minor activity occurring in the area. Agent Estevez was dispatched to investigate. Inside the lodge, she discovered the facility's former owner, Dr. Emil Hartman. He had been converted into a shaded individual and displayed violent behavior characteristic of its type. Agent Estevez alerted the on-site research team of the specimen's presence, and with some difficulty, it was successfully contained in a black rock cell. The cell and its inhabitant were transported safely back to HQ, but the specimen remains detained in the sector as part of the AWE investigation. Once the investigation is closed, research teams have petitioned to relocate this specimen to their sector for study. Whatever. Find me. That was another one. Or is this just dark? Well, you see, Mike Romano, government agency types like to feel like they're important, significant, and have an impact on the world. So they redact random things from documents in order to try and make it feel like they matter, like they're special. But they're not. They're worthless mendicants! Hey, Stu, did you hear about Fisher? Got himself in trouble at the motel. Why the hell does anyone volunteer to stake out that place? Gives me the creeps. But hey, at least he came back, if you can call it that. I saw some of the footage they pulled out there with him. Tom was down in the evidence processing, showing me crazy stuff. Fisher's had the cameras pointing at himself half the time. I'm guessing he went nuts on day one. He did catch something, though. Got one of those fiber optic cameras under the door of the under the door of the room he was hiding in and recorded something out in the hall. Looked like a shadow. Maybe human. Tom tried to get the quality up, but it's still blurry. Still reaffirms my position. Stay out of the motel. Anyway, up for some shoom later? Lisa got up to hour and 38 minutes yesterday. New record to beat. I mean, obviously the reason the game redacts stuff is because it's part of the shtick. It's part of the aesthetic. That's also why some of the redacted stuff is incredibly obvious about what's redacted and what isn't. That being said, actual government agencies, how do I phrase this, are supposed to have policies, I'm going to say it that way, about what is redacted and where and how and why. How much they follow that is a little debatable. But no, I've seen plenty of government agencies that redact things, properly and within reason, and of course, I've also seen non-redacted documents, because that's a thing that exists too. That's an interesting attack. Could you not drain the piss out of me, please, Hartman? Thanks, appreciate it.
We need another power core.
I just realized this is actually an interestingly constructed boss fight. So we have to hang out in a safe area and kill some enemies. Okay, cool. And then we have to remove the safety of the area to grab the object to go finish the puzzle to turn on the lights. And the more we do it, the less safety there is out in the field. Not a bad boss construction. The ads. Actually, I just realized this is probably an actual boss fight, isn't it? I should probably turn off all the cheats. I sort of just have been having them on because I assumed that we weren't at the fight yet, but we're probably there. Which means we're going to go ahead and switch to a real gun. Run. Run. I guess I was right. That actually wasn't the boss fight. It's just another one. Yeah, I've actually read, well, read is the wrong term. I've actually perused a classified document where essentially everything was redacted to the point where there was actually nothing you could determine from it. Like, you've probably seen the joke of the meme of a document that's just all black lines. Yeah, I've actually read that in real life. And again, I use read loosely here. I remember at the time thinking, why even do that? Why even bother? Just don't release the info. I get it. It's classified. Whatever. Moving on. Health. Open up trash on the way to the final boss. Totally the final boss, right? Guess we'll find out. That does make a degree of sense, Valerian.
Director, ma'am, great timing. Hartman just came through here. God, he was hideous. He tore the security door into the Bright Falls AWE site wide open. He was so ugly, like, wow. I got a good look at him, and Christ, he does not look like he used to. The hiss must have messed him up or something. He looks like a bar rag that's been twisted by the world's strongest
Langston.
man. Or a monster from some 80s horror movie.
Langston.
You know, back when it was all practical effects? Ugh, nasty.
Real
Did you say
professional,
something?
Langston.
Remember, I can't hear you. Never mind, just go after Hartman. Oh, so disgusting.
Oh God, you're right, Ravenna Kate. Okay, this is probably the final boss.
I've written, rewritten. The darkness wants to hide the past and make me lose my way. I trust what I read on these pages. I wrote them for a reason. Cut through the reality, tear it apart, and rewrite it. They are drawn to the mystery.
Okay, so what are you actually on about, Alan?
I've written and rewritten, deconstructed, reconstructed, experimented with different voices, changed the style, changed myself, forgotten the language, relearned the language. Have I been here before? Gone down this path before? The darkness wants to hide the past to make me lose my way. You must know where you've been to know where you're going. I trust what I read on these pages. I wrote them for a reason. My notes to myself. The only way to make progress, recap, then write more. The style then. Lose the fat. Make it clear. Ugly. Functional. Present. Be blunt. Only the brutal truth. Cut through the reality, tear it apart, rewrite it. Be clever, make them do the work, form the image in their minds. They make it, you just imply. Incept. They're drawn to the mystery, obsessed. You set it up, they put it together. Their interpretation, and there's only one because you give them no choice. And they believe in it because it's theirs now.
I've been theorizing that. So, like I mentioned earlier,
Let's go take care of it.
I've been under the presumption that the Dark Presence, which is what's actually rewriting reality, is localized, right? Can only work within a certain range. This seems to be implying that it has no range limit and can retroactively rewrite reality. A question was posited earlier. What came first? The Bureau or Alan Wake? I'm not sure what I think of that question, honestly. I do think I'm sick of these trash encounters. I think I've mentioned that a few times. People are probably sick of me mentioning how sick I am of these trash encounters. I'm gonna shut up about it. Yeah, unfortunately, at a certain point, which came first stops mattering. Yes, Alan Wake is sick of writing about how sick I am about complaining about how sick... No, hang on. Alan Wake is sick of writing about how my viewers are sick, about how sick I am of being sick of complaining about these encounters, which I'm sick of. There we go. I think that's the full line.
Thank you for meeting with us again, Dr. Harper.
It's my pleasure, gentlemen. I hope the information I provided thus far has been of some small use.
It's been invaluable, Doctor. Really, we have a much clearer picture of this event, thanks to your accounts.
Well, I do consider myself a keen observer of...
We did have one question, though. You mentioned in an earlier conversation that your patients displayed, and I'm paraphrasing here, unnatural abilities that you in fact encouraged during their time in your lodge. It'd be very helpful if you could fill us in on the details there.
Of course. Like yourselves, I work to understand and even bend the rules of our earthly paradigm. My patient's well-being was paramount, of course, but I would hardly be a man of science if I did not reach out at the underlying truth. As I stated in my written proposal, I believe working alongside your organization could be greatly beneficial to both parties. Sharing notes, as they say.
Thank you, Doctor. That's all we need to hear. Remy?
Dr. Emil Hartman, you have been found in breach of Codes 4, 8, and 74 of the Federal Bureau of Control Criminal Offense System.
What? You can't do this. I am a well-connected man. You're making a dire mistake, my friend.
You will be detained until further notice and all personal property will be confiscated, including the Cauldron Lake Lodge.
That's preposterous. You can't just seize my property. I'm a United States citizen. I have rights. That lodge is my life's work. I'm offering you years of research.
Get him out of here.
You're making a mistake. You have to listen to me. You have to listen.
You know, it actually occurs to me. First of all, that guy's an idiot. The third possibility here, because see, here's the thing, and Sierra might hit the nail on the head there. Whether or not Alan Wake wrote the Bureau into existence, or whether he managed to catch their attention, what that means, what that implies, is the variance in power of the Dark Presence. Because, you know, basically sending out a message for help to her is not really that big of a deal, really. It's something that I could completely see happening, right? Whatever. Rewriting reality so that an entire bureau has always existed to deal with paranormal phenomenon that may or may not have existed prior to this, that's a lot bigger of a deal. But hang on, there's an in-between. What if Alan Wake, and let's be honest here, the Dark Presence actually wrote into existence the oldest house? The Bureau already existed, the Supernatural already existed, but he gave them the tool in order to get them to rescue him eventually, and so forth and so on. It's okay, comma. I'll get it done at some point, period. I was just hoping to get it done before New Year's, period. So anyways, moving on. It's okay, I'm sure the Dark Presence isn't actually the most powerful thing ever. See, the problem is when you deal with rules magic stuff, which, let's be honest, the Dark Presence is absolutely an example of rules magic, defining the limits of those rules is not only important, but difficult. Especially since most writers don't even bother to do so because, well, I actually put work into the matter.
I've forgotten again. I had a plan. I know it. I've forgotten. He's coming. I've got to get out of here. Dive deep.
Okay.
Whatever is going on with Wake, he clearly needs some help.
I think he's fine. I mean, I don't have any thoughts on that, Zach. You just said my thoughts. Alan Wake 2 was announced a few weeks ago, Trihexia. And we know next to nothing about it. Like, I don't want to say we know nothing about it, but we effectively know nothing about it. I don't even think we have a release window. I mean, the symbolism of this is amusing to me, I'll admit. We turned the light of the Federal Bureau of Control onto the darkness, getting rid of it. I mean, come on.
Going mad. Wake had to escape, right? His escape. Wake needed a hero. A hero needed a crisis.
Yeah, speaking of things I'm sick of, Cubic Skull, that's definitely one of the things I'm sick of. Hey, we're making out a game. Okay, that's cool. Do you have any information about it? No, but we're making a game. Yeah, that's nice. Let me know when you actually have some information, or, I don't know, it's out. Not except it's out.
The story needed many beginnings, many springs. Streams that turned into a river, a flood, and then an ocean. This was one. Wake used the materials he had, the connections he had, the people, the places. Wake put them in to make it true. His wife, the psychiatrist, his city. These connections, like magnets, move things. Alice was a conduit. She'd been in the dark place. The thing that had been Hartman sensed her near, sensed Wake through her. Went berserk, broke loose. Wake made sure Alice was already gone by then. Safe. The more springs, the more the story became real. The more people believed. Cause and effect. It was extremely delicate and hard work. It had to go through the path of least resistance where success was most likely. Where there was a connection already. Wake felt the pressure grow in his head. Going mad. Wake had to escape. Right. His escape. He was already out. He wanted to make it true. Wake needed a hero. A hero needed a crisis. For the part in the story about the government agency, Wake needed something special, something to convey an alien force mimicking human intelligence. Something that can't be translated. Translated. Wake channeled Burroughs and Bowie. He cut up sentences and words. Orange peel. You are home. Insane. He put them in a shoebox. He pulled out the words. Wake created a Dadaist poem. He'd try anything once. Or had he tried this before?
No, I think Zane wrote Wake into existence. Like you do. After reaching out to the Bureau, Alice Wake was brought to the oldest house for interview on 2017. See the file for full transcript. The interview conducted by agents Shaw and Dempsey revealed that Mrs. Wake had recurring nightly visitations from her missing ex-husband in her New York class apartment address. Mr. Wake appears out of nowhere, rushes at her down the corridor. According to her impression, he appears crazy and horrifying, clearly coming at her with violent intent. Mrs. Wake believes that he is haunting her, insisting he is not Alan, but a monster in his body. Mrs. Wake has not been sleeping out of fear of these visits. Her attempts to keep the lights on through the night result in the relevant light bulb breaking every night, possibly indicating the involvement of the Further investigation required. We propose installing monitoring equipment in the apartment. Copies of supply request form L5014 have been sent to Mr. Kirkland and the administration for approval.
Another replica. Like the one they made for Ordinary. I wonder what happened here.
Wake happened. Alan Wake. Something's happening, but I'm not sure what. That's where we summon an ad, which we're not going to do. This is just draining the hell out of my energy. Let's get into the light so we can get some mana back.
These are the notes of Dr. Emil Hartman. I am continuing.
Hold on. Let's just hear that in a safe environment, shall we? Hang on.
These are the notes of Dr. Emil Hartman. I am continuing my work alone again since certain parties were too blind to recognize a golden opportunity. Despite my generous offers, the conversations came to naught. Some people simply do not value collaboration as I do. Though I believe now that it was for the best. The sort of bold, pioneering work that I am undertaking cannot thrive under the shackles of bureaucracy and regulation. I have a history of seeking such partnerships. There was a time when I had hoped Alan Wake and I could collaborate. Together we could have produced art such that the world has never seen. But Wake was stubborn, egotistical. Writers usually are. Disappointing nonetheless. But now, like Tom before him, Wake has disappeared into Cauldron Lake. And this is where my work turns hypothetical. Since he was lost to the lake, Thomas Zane has been observed by various townspeople. This indicates to me that the individuals within the lake are not entirely gone. I anticipate Wake will similarly return one day. While I may harbor some resentment for the man, his raw talent and determination are undeniable. From this, I have concluded that the lake and the dark place within it are not as removed from this world as I previously thought. Given my acute awareness of what awaits within, my meticulous preparations, and my considerable education, I believe myself much more prepared than either Tom or Wake. I should be able to cross into that dark realm with the chance to return as they have. All that remains is the dive itself. It frightens me, I admit, but such is the burden of the truth seeker. I will take my plunge into the dark tomorrow, with only the light of knowledge to guide me. It is time for a breakthrough. Until I return.
And he was chewed up and spit out in seconds, like the nobody he was.
My work alone again.
Jesus Christ, you moron. No, it's cool. I can handle chaos. It's cool. Ah!
Do not value collaboration.
Bureau alert. I'm in the middle of something here, okay? Can you give me a moment? An unconfirmed threshold manifestation occurred at Cauldron Lake, Washington. The citizens of Bright Falls had gathered in the town's southwestern fields for the annual festival known as Deer Fest. Eyewitnesses all claimed the day had been sunny, confirmed by reviews of the area's weather reports, but then without warning, a thunderstorm appeared in the direction of Anderson Farm, and a tornado rose from Cauldron Lake. The torrential rain that followed called a flash flood. It was as if the day had turned to night. Testimony from Frank Breaker, the sheriff of Bright Falls, formerly a bureau agent. The employee fell. Managed to guide the crowd to safety as the festival grounds were destroyed by the flood. The festival was canceled, ending one day early. Lack of official bureau presence on the scene makes it difficult to be reported as a confirmed AWE, although the similarity to other known events in the Bright Falls area lend credence to the accounts of the townspeople. Well, Von Falkenstein, I just learned that Hartman is even stupider than I thought. That's really impressive. I did not exactly have a high opinion of the man. Well, he decided that because he has such a stronger will than, you know, Alan Wake or Zane or anybody else, he would just jump into the Dark Presence and everything would be cool forever. And yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the creativity is specifically what allows for... Well, I say allows. Is why the Dark Presence allowed certain people to survive. Not willpower. What blitheringly obvious thing am I missing here? Just gonna try this button again, see if it changes. Nope, that's not a thing. Okay, cool. Try this button then.
You are pretty rough on the eyes.
Interesting. That's a new problem. Take these. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know, Traxie. It'll be interesting. But given the way we're currently doing things, we're probably not going to do Alan Wake until Alan Wake 2 is out. You sound like you got a bit of a cough there, buddy. Why don't you get that looked at? Yeah, mind control dude has totally got this. Six feet, please. You know, if we could just defeat the coronavirus by throwing a bunch of things or shooting it, that'd probably be a good thing overall. I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I was gonna say we're probably gonna have a third health bar. I mean, rule of 3 applies in video games, not just in the Bureau. Staying on the ground. regenning immediately. Nope. This is death. Yep. So how much of that do we have to redo? If you didn't catch it, I turned all the cheats back off, because duh, I want to experience the boss fight as is. Looks like we have to do it from the top. Maybe? Oh, maybe not. Holy crap. Do you have your second health bar? Nope. Okay, so we're starting from phase 2, which is better than it could be. I'll give you that. I didn't see you coming.
These are the notes of Dr. Emil Parker.
Making sure. I didn't actually want to kill him. Whatever. Oh, that's actually bad. That's bad. Do it. Come a little closer, please. Thank you. Mind. He fought the good fight. That guy fought for a while. I'm actually impressed. Hey, Death Eagle. Welcome to what I believe is the final boss fight. Oh my god, his coughing comes out of his back. Yeah, see? I don't think Langston was right about this guy. Also, his missiles come out of his back, too. Let's see if I can at least get him half before he does it again. I don't know. Get the lights back on at least here. What? No! Oh, I see. Oh, God. I think that's death. Okay. Run.
Like a worm through fire.
Health over here from the guy I just killed. Oh, thank God. Okay. Wow, that is a lot of regen. No real opinion tracks here. What is popular and what isn't is almost impossible to predict, so... People not liking a good product doesn't exactly surprise me. I mean, Princess Bride sold terribly, as I like to point out. So did Earthbound, at least at launch. Double gross.
Hartman won't be a problem anymore, Langston. But investigations need someone to run it. Interested?
I've seen what happens to sector heads, ma'am. No, thank you.
Hey.
Ma'am, I'm getting something on my terminal here, an AWE alert from Bright Falls, Washington. But it might be a glitch. The date's all wrong, a couple of years in the future. And we're in lockdown. There shouldn't be any incoming signals.
Maybe it was active before we went into lockdown? Are there agents on site?
Let me check. Agent Estevez is the field agent in charge of monitoring the site, so she should be there to let us know if the situation has been through any major changes recently.
Things set in motion. If the alarm's true, then so is the reason for the alarm. The effect must follow the cause. It's happening again. A return. You have been warned.
To be continued in Alan Wake 2 sometime in the next 2 years. What the? Ah! Ah! You know what? I accept my death. Go ahead. It's quicker. Thank you. It's a hell of a way to end a game, isn't it? There will be a sequel. And then immediately die. There will now be no sequel. I really hope Jessie is in Alan Wake 2. Or at the least as a cameo. I mean, she's the director, so probably not, like, you know, personally involved, but still, right? Like, we'd better see some connectivity there or I'm going to be pissed. It would depend on the type of time travel, Death Eagle, and that's a big, complex, convoluted topic. But the long and the short of it is I would probably do everything I can to do everything I can because I have power, and power exists to be used to help others. So, I do believe that be it for this game. I honestly thought we had like another 3 or 4 hours. But, woo, we're done. We did it. We did it all. No, shut up. There's no side quest. There's no side quest. Ah! Okay. But we're seriously not doing the treasure hunt side quest. Screw all that noise. So, we've got to do something far more interesting. We've got a review. We've got an audit. I mean, everybody in chat. What's so interesting about auditing? Listen, shut up. Don't judge me. Okay, you can judge me if you want to. I accept the judgment. I mean, that's true, Mike Romano. I do usually overestimate times on purpose, because you never know. Sure, Revedicate. Hang on. That's going to take me a moment. Make sure you have those whispers on. I mean, the goal was to beat this game either Thursday or Saturday. And we managed the Saturday. So I'll take it. Hang on. Nope, no negatives for the cast. The cast sucks. Why is Twitch's page so garbage? Oh my god. I mean, I don't want to take it to an extreme, Death Eagle, but yes, absolutely. Alright, there's Revedicate. Sounding a whisper. Why is this so obtuse? Exactly. Something I learned a long time ago, like 30 years ago, when it comes to financial matters specifically. Always overestimate, never underestimate. It is much, much easier to deal with a project that you have overestimated the time, the money, the effort, the personnel required for it, than when you have underestimated. If you have underestimated, generally speaking, you can't fix that. There you go, Revedicate. Invite sent. Now, I'm gonna do that thing that I do. As soon as I find it. There we go. How the hell, Eitri? Yeah, under promise and over deliver. It's true. And it's true even if you're not, you know, scum, even if you're not just trying to cook the books or whatever. There is legitimate reasons for doing that. Well, no, of course not, Neurozaz. There is no such thing as the list. I definitely do not have a website, and that website definitely does not exist. Wait, hang on. Alan Wake. You can't hear my keyboard because it's really quiet. Alan Wake realized that there needed to be a website for people to be able to track donations towards. But then he realized no one would ever be able to find the website. No one would ever be able to find the list. And this is the curse that you are cursed with, Lord Rudder. The end. All right, so let's look at what we just did first. Gameplay-wise, I'm willing to go ahead and give a plus for those bosses with Hartman. Plural, but only one plus for both. It is neat enough. The second health bar was unnecessary, but I liked the escalation of it. And I liked the pseudo-puzzle nature of it and flying around and having to manage your mana while in areas where you can't get mana, but there's always a safe zone and blah, blah. It was good. I like it. It's cool. So, the Hartman fights in general. $15 negatives for everything else. Yeah, exactly, Sierra Mike. So, yeah, sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence. For those of you not aware, there is a reason, even other than scum reasons, to overestimate and to under promise. And it's because you never know what's going to go wrong. That's the core essence of that concept. If you're doing a budget, even a personal budget, you always presume that things are going to cost more than they do, so that way you have the money ready to go in case something goes wrong, or in case you need to replace something, or in case something breaks, or in case you get an extra bill that you didn't expect. Maybe your tire breaks down. Maybe your sister needs help with something that month. You don't know. You always make sure that there's wiggle room. That's the point behind that mentality. All right. Before we actually hit the audit, hi Zerona Elite, let's go ahead and look at a few notes I've jotted down. Yeah, exactly, Sir Mike. There's a related concept to this. It's the idea that when you're doing well, you don't overspend, you actually underspend. Because that way you're putting all sorts of extra in the rainy day fund. And as I've said before, that's true at a national level as well as at a personal level. But I'm getting off topic. So, story. So we never really judged the mirror section, and it was neat, but ultimately kind of surface level, no pun intended. So I want to bake that into an aggregate. So, which brings me to the fridge, and poor Philip. Which brings me to, I don't know what that is, but the anchor. Yeah, like, you get the idea, Darth Tyrant. That's exactly what I'm building towards. Yeah, the boss fight and the clocks, exactly. Now, based on the nature of those, I think those qualify as both story and gameplay. Nothing super jump-outable, for lack of a better way to put it, but decent stuff there. You know, reasonably enjoyable boss fights. The clock fight is one of the more interesting fights in the game, such as it was. Yeah, I mean, you're funny, Ross. But yeah, Bragwin linked it to you, Nero says. That's why I didn't even answer you, as I figured that was the answer. Oh yeah, and I need to add this one, too. Sorry. Let's get my notes in order here. Jesse Faden starring in Swift Platform. Because Nerazaz asked for a link to the list, and you gave him a link to the Streaminations page. Hint, hint, put money towards Tangled. Hint, hint. I believe was what you were going for there. Oh, did he ask for shows specifically? God, I'm apparently not reading today. Oh, no, right. A list of what shows you can donate towards. I restructured that sentence in my head. I apologize. I thought you said a list that shows what you can donate to. I'm an idiot. Either way, it's kind of the same list. The list links to the Streaminations, and the Streaminations links to the list. By design. I have always been stupid, Nero's ass. Always. It is my curse. Let's see. Do I already have that positive? Yes, I do. I'm leaning towards a second positive for internal continuity. This game has excellent internal continuity. Thoughts? I also have another question, which unfortunately... I know! Nero's asked! No! We've got to save you from the dark side. Here's the real question. And this is a question for those of you who've played Alan Wake, because I haven't. Yeah, we finished the games originally. We're done. Although you did just ask the take a drink question, so I will take a drink. Depends is always the answer, Trehexia. Depends. Ruby is already on the list, for example. Season 3 through 9, I believe. Nobody thinks about internal continuity. Nobody cares. I knew it! I knew it! I'm not even talking. Lord Runner continued to talk, just to himself in his empty, sad, and pathetic one-bedroom apartment. No one ever loved him, and no one ever would. He would die lonely and... sorry, getting a little too real there. External continuity. Now, to define this a little bit, external continuity is kind of tricky because we don't rate a game based on other games, right? However, what we do is rate a game based on what something outside of that game does for the game. When something from another work, either a previous game or even a show or a movie or whatever, adds to the value and enjoyment of a game, that's external continuity, right? And we've given external continuities positives and negatives. You know, like Tor, external continuity negative. By contrast, something like Jedi Fallen Order would be an external continuity positive. You get the idea. So, external continuity. I haven't played Alan Wake. So, what do you think? Question mark. No excuses, Mr. Wait, is there mayo on that chicken sandwich? Because if there is, I'm going to have to turn you into Hartman. Hartman's going to be stretched between the hiss and the darkness. I'm seeing some positives. Or I'm seeing some agreements with the idea. Again, I'm kind of in the dark on this one, but I do think it's probably better. And yeah, exactly, Darth Turn. I'm going to go ahead and put it in now. If I change my mind later, I change my mind later. It wouldn't be the first time. I actually added a plus to Oblivion during this very week, so, you know, whatever. Reviews are malleable. That's how that works. All right, so... What'll really be interesting is if Alan Wake 2 gets that positive. All right, that's actually everything I had for that. Oh, nope, almost everything. We'll come back to that. Okay, so that's all my notes there. I gave a plus for the boss fight. The ending... Apparently these people do not know how to write endings, because I was once again not impressed with this ending. It's too abrupt and too unsatisfactory. Now... I don't know if it deserves yet another negative. By the way, so far we've given a negative for each ending in the game. But I would be willing to be talked into that, because the ending is Alan Wake 2 is coming, and that's it. We defeat Hartman, and it's just like a 20-second cutscene saying, watch for Alan Wake 2, weird stuff, the end. It ends so abruptly that it dumped me back into the boss arena and spawned enemies on my face, for God's sakes. And you know me, I'm always much more harsh about an outro and an intro than any other part of the game. Like, at absolute best, that outro is, from a narrative perspective, is not good. Yeah, this is under story. We're talking story-wise. I gave the boss a plus. It was a good boss fight. Probably the best boss fight in the game, in my opinion, unless we count the ashtray maze, in which case that would be the best boss fight. I mean, Blizzard used to have the exact same problem, if you remember, Kara White Noise. Blizzard used to do almost every aspect of storytelling beautifully and brilliantly, including presentation, and then it would come to ending their story, and they'd end on a to be continued, dun dun dun, every single frickin' time, because they don't know how to end a story. Hmm. No, it's just the 3 negatives. There's no need to add a 4th for that, Arizos. Did I give Ashtray a story positive? I think I did. Not actually sure. Yes, I did. You know what? I don't even know why I'm debating this. Every time I debate this, it's because I don't want to give a negative. So, negative to ending. That's something that would more be the next game than this one, Drax. Yeah, exactly. All right. So, that's what we have written down right now. Let's go ahead and actually do the audit now. Hang on. So, this is control, which starts with the C. Can you spell control? Oh, yeah, and I should look that up really quick. That's important. 222. Thank you, K.O. Wait a minute. This isn't Mortal Kombat. What the hell? Do not like this keyboard. All right. One moment. I need to come up with a few things here. So, 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 2. I'm actually pretty picky about numpads, but that's because I've actually done data entry and well, I mean, you kind of want data entry to be smooth and quick, right? Let's see. When did we start this game? Not that it matters. I can figure that out. It doesn't matter. All right. Audit. Control. Should go right here. I don't know which scene that is, Draxus, so I have no idea. All right. Animation. We actually commented on that. That would be motion capture in this case. And it's not actually all that great, to be honest. They clearly phoned it on that one. Atmosphere and tone. Duh. Yeah, we gave a positive for that. Babylon 5 effect. Went ahead and gave that one. Background lore. Yes and no, respectively, Zeronally. We decided not to do several of the side quests because, honestly, I was sick of them. It's because I was sick of them. I don't have a better way to say that. I was sick and tired of it. I gave negatives for side quests. But let's see here. Background lore. I don't think background lore really qualifies in this game. Babylon 5 effect. So Babylon 5 effect is a specific brand of foreshadowing. The important distinction is, rather than just something might happen eventually, Babylon 5 is when you look at something and it looks like A, but then when you go back through it and you look through it from a different angle, aka the knowledge and context of having already watched the work, now it looks like B. That's Babylon 5 effect, so named for the show, because Babylon 5 did that constantly. But the key distinction is making sure that it has to look like something that it isn't the first time through, but then you recognize what it is the second time through. It is actually, the reason I give credit for that is because it's hard to write, A, especially probably, but B, again, it's really good form of foreshadowing, because it's foreshadowing you don't actually see. You only see it in hindsight. So, a lot of that, not really a lot of that. Did I give a plus for that? Nope. Okay. Characters. Oh, we gave so many character pluses. Let's see. We've got Ahti, we've got Emily, we've got Darling. We put Trench in there. We put Langston in there. Yeah, okay. Boop, 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 boop. Other characters that we could give pluses. That's also true. Babylon 5 also adds replayability to a work. And I know that sounds weird when talking about a TV show, but it's true. It adds to the desire to go back through it. Other characters that jump out at me. I mean, Dylan was pretty neutral for me. He was reasonably well executed. Crazy. And that's about all we got for him. Jesse's the big question mark. Because Jesse is written, and I don't mean this as an insult, but Jesse's written to be a bit of a bland character. since she's there to be, you know, you. It's a problem a lot of main characters have in a huge number of video games, is that they are very much less developed than the other characters around them because, you know, you're supposed to be projecting onto them. So I'm kind of torn about Jesse. I think we gave the board a positive. We did. We gave the board a positive. I don't think I could give Former a positive. I'd have to think about that. Oh, got it, Traxy. Not right now. I don't have time right now. I'm in the middle of an audit. That would take me like 20 minutes to really digest and process. Yeah, Former doesn't have a lot of presence. So here's what I'm thinking. Let's do this. Let's combine. Let's do an aggregate. Let's spell correctly. I hate this keyboard. This is like typing on a laptop. All the keys are just smashed right next to each other. Let's give an aggregate positive for Jessie, because I don't think she deserves a full positive. And Former, which just doesn't have the presence necessary to be a full positive. Yeah, no. So, plus to those two. Let's see, other characters. We've given a plus for almost every named character in the game at this, or at least every major character in the game. I think. I don't know what else to add to that. Ah, yes, Sierra Mike. So here's my theory. I'm going to mention this in the rumination, which I'll be recording today as well. I think, yes, I did, Nero says, I think that the board is benefiting from the world. So let me answer your question more directly. Does the board care about our world? Do you care about your livestock? Now, the answer is yes, but it's a particular type of care, right? Whereas Former feels more like, I guess closest I come to that is either a pet, or, you know, do you care about your pet, or do you care about your child, is actually probably the analogy I'd go with. So that would be my answer there. And yeah, exactly. The director is the shepherd dog. Everyone else, everything else, food. That would be my take on that. Do I believe Ahti is allied to the board? No, not at all. I think he does whatever the hell he wants to. And the fact that he tends to just kind of bypass procedures and protocols, which is kind of the board's main, you know, modus operandi, feels to me like he's just doing whatever because he can. So, my take on that. Anyway, sorry. Let's get back here. So, we've given many pluses to characters. Consequence storytelling. No, I don't think that applies here. Cutscene incompetence. We actually didn't see any of that. Dialogue. Who or what is Ahti? Who cares? Although... I would say Ahti is... How do I phrase this? Let's go back to the analogy of the board game, right? So the board, is sitting there playing the board game, gathering all the sheep together. Ahti is the guy who's not a part of the board game. He happens to be roaming by and sits over and kibitzes for a while, right? How did Hartman get to the lake from the house? He was let go. They said that. They flat out said we're suspending you and we're kicking you out. You're never practicing medicine again. Go away. Then he went back to the lake and jumped in like a moron. And then they went and recovered him and dragged him back to the house. If you say so, Zerona Elite, I don't know enough Finnish to comprehend that, but I believe you. I should probably be on the right row. Dialogue. Orlons? Surface level, but yes. Doodads, yeah, we gave several pluses to doodads. No empty text problems, none of that. External continuity is a yes. Fake drama, we did have one instance of that. Foreshadowing, duh. Scroll forwards a little bit. Humor. Yeah, there was one time I laughed. I remember that. That's why I'm hesitant, because that's usually not positive worthy. But as always, I like to poll for opinions. One. Oh, that's not actually there as a... I guess that counts. So we'll do... There. Well, no, that was optional, wasn't it? It was optional. And we'll put that one there. No, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Outro, 3 negatives. For 3 outros. That's how that works. This is neither coffee nor sushi, no. Padding, not in the story. Core plot, no. It's not that, it's none of that. Sound design, yes, we did give that plus, right? Sound design, yep, there it is. Sequencing. Storyboarding doesn't apply. Storytelling mechanics, yes, we gave a plus for that. Themes. No, Zerona Elite, nor will I. I mean, it just says that they wrote that character a little bit better than the other ones. Let's come back to themes. Visual continuity doesn't apply. Visual storytelling. Do we give that? We did not. Oh no, the facial animation was clearly packaged rigging, like a better way to put it. Yeah, visual storytelling plus. Voice acting, oh yeah, we gave that one right. We did. Good. And that just leaves. All right, so that just leaves 2 categories to debate. Themes, which I've already... Let's come back to that. And world building. Believe it or not, we have currently not given any pluses for world building, but that's because I wanted to debate how we divvy that one up. Like, on the one hand, they world build for the Bureau pretty well. And we have snippets of what's going on. But honestly, most of the outside world didn't really get a lot of development except for a few notes here and there, and in the DLCs, where we got more of an inclination of the Blessed Foundation. We got more of an idea of... They didn't even mention the term paracriminal until it came to the AWE expansion, or, excuse me, DLC, for example. What else? There was something else that actually caught my eye when it came to world building. I can't remember what it is, and I guess it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, their relationship with NASA, which is kind of an ongoing thing. Because the problem here is, obviously, world building gets positive. Duh. The question is, does it get more than one? There is some theory crafting I've seen. I think I mentioned this during the Quantum Break rumination, that Quantum Break might occur within the same setting, but it's worth noting that, to my knowledge, there is nothing concrete that connects them. I think. See you around, Revedicate. Yeah, I think that's the same thing that I ran into as well, Kara White Noise. That Quantum Break... I mean, Quantum Break could fit in, but there would be issues. Like, it would be difficult. It would be challenging to fit it in because of the time travel. But the real issue is that Quantum Break was made in coordination with several other companies because of the whole TV show thing. And that means they don't really own the rights to it, and that means, honestly, hands off. You know what I mean? Themes. I mean, the game has themes all over the place, obviously. What I'm debating is if it is in service of a benefit to the story, aka if it's a positive or not. It totally does here, Mike. Can't argue that. Sure. I admittedly don't feel it that much, but I could be pushed into it. Which leaves us with a net plus 29 to story. Now gameplay, which is not going to fare quite as well. I'm just going to be nice and honest about that. Right, so we've got enemy AI would qualify in a game like this. I'm leaning towards a wash on that one because most of the enemy AI that I observed is what I like to call cheating AI, aka not particularly well designed. They always know where you are with perfect knowledge, and they always know how to aim at you with perfect knowledge, which is just, it's an easy way to code that. So, There's no quests to speak of. Animations don't apply in combat. No audio spam to speak of. Auto battle doesn't exist. There's no alternate leveling per se. There was a bit of backtracking, but it was mitigated a bit. There is no bestiary. There were a couple of good bosses. We did have some bugs. Built-in cheats. Yep, no, we definitely gave that one. That was good. Not really an issue. Doesn't exist. No co-op. And not really an issue there. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're going to give a negative for enemy variety, but someone said at the beginning of the run I probably won't give this game a positive for it, and they ended up being correct. I don't think the enemy variety is what I would normally qualify as a gameplay positive here. Let's see. Crashes. We did have a couple crashes. Difficulty curve is awful. Durability doesn't exist. These concepts don't exist. Scroll forward a bit. Encounter rate. Moving on. Graphics are very good. There's really no grind to speak of. Guidance and flow of exploration. I want to give that a negative, but I admit I was having issues with that. So I'll take some thoughts. What do you think about the guidance and flow of exploration? That's about how the game is designed to either encourage or entice you into certain directions in order to kind of be like, here, there's something over here, or maybe there's something in this direction, or whatever, right? And yeah, most of the exploration that in this game had in my category would be entering a new room for the first time and then running around looking for dots, just doing this until I see a dot like that and going and interacting with it. And that's pretty much all there was to that. I can see that being a neutral, instead of a negative. It definitely isn't good. But, you know, there's worse. So, alright, let's go ahead and pass on that. Yeah, there was the little Polaris thing when there's a new control point. That's kind of it. I'd like to argue a negative for the shotgun approach to loot. What do y'all think? Because we've discussed this several times before. While you debate that, the game definitely gets positive for Kit because of powers being awesome. We never actually did any crafting. We leveled it up, and then I was like, well, that's worthless, and then we didn't do it. No, let's do this. Oh, no, that is what it qualifies as. Let's do that. Ashtray maze goes there. So does that, actually. I have not played Mad Max, no. Yeah, like, you get my point, though, right, Sierra Mike? The shotgun loot system can work. It just didn't because they didn't do anything necessary to make it work. The limited inventory size certainly didn't help with that. The lack of a churn all or the lack of filter options. or any of the other features that can exist to support that kind of loot method, of which there are several. But I could be talked down from a negative because there are other things there, which brings me to the map. Let's see here. That's true. It did have a sorting system, although, was there one for that? I really don't like the map in this game. But I could also be argued down to an aggregate negative for the map. Which is why I said, speaking of which. There's no New Game Plus, right? Like, I didn't see anything that would indicate there is one. So let's do this. Let's start a new aggregate. Which brings me to the usual big question. Replayability. That's a strange one. Do note I am speaking entirely on the gameplay axis with this, because that's how that works. Yeah, I don't mean to bash the map even more, but I could name a SNES game that understood that you could have multiple levels in a dungeon, and so would have different maps for each level in that dungeon. That would be Link to the Past. Ah, yes, Raspberry Jam. Oof, definitely negative there. Yikes. Sound design, yes. No strategic design was big. Cutscenes were skippable. I tested that earlier. You could do the random missions forever and ever. Sorry. A plus and a negative for visual distinction. That doesn't apply here. Yeah, I'll give that positive. So yeah, that just leaves replayability as something we're debating. I've only heard two opinions so far. What does everyone else think? I mean, I'll never play this game again, but that's not really indicative, you know? It's not. Yeah, see, the problem is, we've talked about this so many times. The second replay positive is for how much the game does to encourage replay, like different routes or different methods of play or different characters to play as or whatever. We saw that in the Mega Mans, for example. But the first positive is this game enjoyable enough? It's kind of a vague gray morass of a positive. Is this game enjoyable enough to play to want to replay it? That's really what that boils down to. I will admit the only reason I'm even debating this is because of the built-in cheats. If I ever were to replay this game, I would just cheat right out the gate. I would just remove the combat from the equation and be a death machine. Because I've had my fill of that, you know? But there is other gameplay other than, you know, fighting through waves after waves of enemies. Part of the problem I'm having, Sierra Mike, is this is the last thing we're debating. So, if this is an aggregate positive, and we have this rule, we've established this case law. If there is an unfinished aggregate that doesn't get finished when we're done, it drifts off. It's dead. Or we bake it into a pre-existing aggregate. We don't add another positive for it. Which we could do that. That's actually not a bad idea. What do you think? And you're probably thinking, but Lord, you gave a Babylon 5. Yeah, the Babylon 5 positive is in many ways a story replayability positive. Gave that. No question. Done. Boom. I'm thinking, again, this is purely from the gameplay axis. I mean, I hate to use this comparison because I keep comparing this game to it, but Dragon Age 2, right? I'm never going to play Dragon Age 2 on hard difficulty ever again because, right? You know what? No, I've talked myself down from it. Or you've talked me down from it. Now, that does still leave us with a +7 to gameplay. Not great, but anything above 0 is above 0. That's kind of how that works. Let's get some final numbers here, shall we? Any guesses on the golden number? As a fresh reminder for anybody who isn't aware of how the system works, anything within the 40 range is a... So let's actually mark that. Any negative whatsoever is bad. Any negative is bad. This won't be a negative. 0 is also not particularly good. If you enter into the 40s, that is a good game. I like to call it generically good. You know, nothing's really to write home from, but something that was worth the playthrough. If you get up into the 80s, you have entered the point of being a very good game. Anything over 100 is masterpiece level. Anything over 200 is the best of the best. And that's pretty much the curve right now. Let's do a few maths. That's what we call those, right? Maths. What was this? God, this is a 4-day game. We've never reviewed Deus Ex, so I don't know, is the answer to that question. It's on the list to be reviewed someday. Even under the new system, where any negative is bad, Mega Man X7 is still a -44. God, that's terrible. I continue to be amazed at how astonishingly bad that game is. I stand by it. That game sucked. Every level, that game sucked. God, just, ooh. Okay. Nope. So that's 32 out of 35. Gotta type very carefully because new keyboard, which sucks. And 18 out of 29. Okay. Yeah, by the way, for those of you not aware, this coming Tuesday, we will be streaming Max Payne 2. So that should be interesting. Huh. 88.3. That is admittedly higher than I was expecting, but as always, I like to do a little thing whenever we assign a golden number, because the golden number is supposed to reflect reality. The golden number does not decide reality. This is not Alan Wake. So I like to look back at that and think, does that fit? And honestly, I think it does. The narrative of this game really shoves it up a lot. I mentioned at the beginning I was worried because of how weird it was and how the atmosphere was just kind of, But at the same time, it got rid of that almost immediately. There is very, very little, if any, weird for weird's sake in this game. And yeah, it's got some great characters and some great voice acting with a very tightly written plot, which keeps track of its own events very well and ties in neatly to the overall universe that they are building within it. And the gameplay was fun. That's the key thing about Dragon Age 2 Syndrome. It was fun. It was just too much of it. So there is still good gameplay there. It's just... right? So that tracks. I'm with that. That puts that up around Pokemon Shield and puts it above Outer Worlds, actually. So, yeah, no, I stand by that. This is a very good game. Too much gameplay. Dragon Age 2 Syndrome is when you have not very in-depth gameplay and entirely too much of it. So, it's fun, but it's basic, and then you're forced to do it over and 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 over, and then you get sick of me explaining how sick I am of the characters who are sick of hearing me talk about how sick I am of the combat, and Alan Wake is sick of writing about me being sick about it. But yeah, no, exactly. There are very few questions left at the end of this game. There are a couple, but there are a few, and I'm with it. Anyways, this has been an interesting and fun game to go through. Like I said, Tuesday we're going to go and start Max Payne 2. Tomorrow we'll have the usual lore week and streaminations. Obviously no streams on Monday. I'm going to go figure out what the hell I'm going to say for the rumination for this game. It's probably just going to be 3 minutes of me standing here in my boxers, talking about how I'm going to go get a wonderful gift. And then I'll just slowly walk off camera. So, I'll see you around.